What is your promise? Why are you in business? How do you expect to grow?
This is The Hook, a show focused on branding, marketing, and business development.
You brand to inspire, not to sell.
Jason Arsmont, the marketing maverick, gives expertise to business owners, serial entrepreneurs, and anyone interested in building a stronger company brand.
Creating a brand is like telling a story. You've got one shot to say it all.
When your marketing works, you've got them on the hook.
Thanks for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. This is The Hook. It's a business talk show about, marketing, business. It's not just a business talk show. We talk about all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are wrapped up into this little hour show that we do every week.
A lot of material.
And The Hook, we call it The Hook for a reason. Not just because we think that it's catchy. Get it? Catchy? Hook?
Catchy hook.
Come on now. The hook is that moment whenever you bring someone in, whether it's a sales pitch or a marketing campaign that you're trying to roll out as a strategy for your client. And well, the guy that came up with that, sitting right in front of me, his name is Jason Arsmont, the marketing maverick. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. We're back. We last time we left off, we were just getting ready for Father's Day. Did you have any...
Let me see.
Normally around your house, there's some kind of crazy Father's Day. Really any weekend. Some kind of crazy Father's
For
event.
my weekend, this is what happens. I go into work on a Monday and they say, what'd you do this weekend? Do you want to know?
Yeah, it's funny because like early on in my career, I had that, that guy that you would share. Oh man, how was your weekend with the party, going out clubbing? Now I look forward to Mondays to hear Josh's stories about his kids. There's always something funny going on.
It was fun. You know what? On Father's Day, we had Vacation Bible School, the end of it. So I've been singing those Vacation Bible School songs in my head for the past week. You can't get them out of your head.
Yeah.
You're supposed to just do the 1 week and be done with it. It's not so. My kids are still singing them. Daddy, put the CD in. We want to. You're never going to do these songs ever again. Why are we still?
We're never going to do them again. Well, it gets different as the kids get old. Mine are older now, so we went to watch Central Intelligence with The Rock.
Oh, I didn't even know that. And Kevin Hart was in that too, right? Okay.
Yeah. It's funny. It was good.
I didn't even realize it was that. I was so busy trying to find times for Dory.
For Dory?
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny. My wife was like, oh, I know. If we're going to go to a movie, we should go watch Dory. And I was like, I'm pulling Father's Day card. We're going to go watch Central Intelligence.
Yeah, because your youngest is a little
13,
bit out of that range.
Yeah. So he's 13. He's coming on up.
I tell you what, the amount of marketing they had to do for Dory was they didn't have to do a whole lot. They did a lot, but they didn't have to.
Well, let's be honest. All you have to do is say Ellen's still in it. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, ooh.
That's right.
I mean, she's such a powerful brand.
And she's talking about it every day on her show.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave this out. This segment being brought to you by Brightbox Brand Marketing, and we are just completely busy right now. It is going so well.
That is one sponsor that we shouldn't leave out. You're right. Because that's us.
Yeah, that's us.
So that's what Josh and I do from 9 to 5, 8, Monday through Friday. That's our full-service brand marketing firm, and we are booming right now. Times are good. We're staffing up. We're looking for more creative folks in design and web development, account managers.
Yeah, it's not 9 to 5.
It's not 9 to 5.
I'm talking to Corey Owen from Auction House at like 8 or 9 o'clock at night. Hey, man, what's going on?
Yeah. Well, and interestingly enough, starting next week, we're going to kind of go through our clients, man. We haven't had our clients back on here. So,
that's a good idea.
Yeah, so hopefully next week we'll have Donna from Donna's Home Furnishing out in Conroe.
Yeah. So
she'll be on, and then we're going to kind of go through the list of our clients and get them on here and tell their stories.
Fantastic.
Hopefully they don't rat on us.
Yeah.
Well, that marketing firm we got, yeah.
Well, she's not my account, so...
So you're in good shape.
Yeah, I'm safe.
Yeah. Well, we've got a great guest today, too. In studio, we've got a local web design development expert, Leisa Holland-Nelson. She's with a company called ContentActive.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah. Well, we've partnered with them on a few projects in the past. Brightbox builds websites, but every now and then there's a site that kind of stretches
our limitations.
Our limitations. That's a good way to put it. Yes. And ContentActive can do some serious heavy lifting and programming. So she's just a dynamite. She's a real digital marketing expert as well. So I know you guys are going to get a lot of great information from her about it. what's a strong website, what to think about when looking to design, when you're vetting new vendors. So yeah,
and I want to know about their process too, because that's a big part of this. Where do you start? What do you need from the clients? When do you start developing? What are some of the key things that you need to relate to your client whenever you begin to begin the project?
Yeah, and they're a big digital house, so I know they're strong with their processes, and they've got I don't even want to guess how many employees now, but they're a really good, strong group. I respect them a lot, and so so we're gonna have them on. I think you guys will like it. And part of the reason why I wanted to bring her on is I'm still just surprised how often we run into clients and potential clients who just still don't have a solid website. I mean, it seems like every day somebody's calling or we're getting introduced to somebody and we go check them out online and it's just not what it should be, not a functional sales engine that should be operating 24/7, 365 days a year. They're flat, static pages. There's no functionality. I mean, there's not a whole lot more work to make a website functional and to make it, kind of automated and to be working for you and to correctly funnel leads. So yeah, I'm kind of baffled. We had a couple meetings last week with new clients. I was like, man, I guess you know what? Let's keep talking about this because there's definitely a need out there in the market.
Do they feel like if they listen to the radio show, they can get free advice from you?
I sure hope so. I hope they do.
They don't even have to have a meeting with you. They just listen to the show.
Yeah, I mean, I get emails, and you guys can do that as well if you're listening. Feel free to go to thehookradio.com and shoot us an email. Ask us questions about your marketing program. You want us to review something, take a look at your sitemap, ideas for integration functionality. I mean, just that's what the show's all about. I'm inspired by businesses and business owners, and your dreams, are something that I really get excited about. Knowing what it is you're trying to achieve and helping people do that, and that's what the show's all about.
And not only that, on thehookradio.com, you can find the archives of every guest that we've ever had. Last week, it was your brother, Josh Arsmont. That was a really great interview. That guy's great.
He's good. Well, it was I've never interviewed my brother, so that was. I knew he would do well, but when it's your brother and you have non-professional time, you kind of have a different relationship. So I was curious how he would do coming in the studio, and yeah, he knocked it out of the park.
He did, and I was worried because you guys had just been on vacation, right? How much more talking could you do, and it'd be any way entertaining at all?
Well, yeah. Well, at least last weekend we didn't have kids yelling in the background, and
oh, that's true.
Yeah. So, and he just had ACL surgery, so I think he was excited to get out of the house.
Had a little downtime.
Yeah,
wanted to travel.
Yeah. Yeah, and something else to keep in mind if you're a regular on the show, coming up in a couple weeks, we have the award-winning author Ryan Holiday, author of several best-selling books. His latest book is called Ego is the Enemy. It's a fascinating book, talks about the battle of success while managing your ego, the role that it plays, how it works. Very interesting stuff. So, if you get a chance beforehand, go check out the book, Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday, and he's going to be on in 2 weeks.
Okay. Is that something that Donald Trump should read?
Maybe every political candidate to some extent, but
I know. Doesn't it get out of hand?
Yeah, it's interesting. He turned that into his brand. We'll spin Donald Trump into kind of a marketing talk here for a second, but talk about a powerful brand. I'm not saying I agree with every position or the way that he does it. Maybe I'll say that. But yeah, goodness, came out the gate swinging, and he has held on to it from the very beginning. And
I'm not gonna say I'm in favor of either one of them. All I'm gonna say is that everything that he's done in the past, all his past business practices, you don't hear anybody talking about it. It's kind of swept under the rug
because he buried them. Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's done a lot of them, and as somebody myself who's done a lot of different business deals, nothing near to the scale or the volume that Donald Trump has. I'm not trying to say that, but, I can say that there's situations and business arrangements that go south, and there's issues with those. And some of them are not my proudest moments. But then the vast majority of the things I've done, I am extremely proud of. And so, I get that. And I'm sure there's going to be people that attack him for some of those things that went south, or maybe contracts weren't so good. But
they haven't been doing that. But Hillary is attacked a lot for her past.
Yeah, she's going to be on the warpath here pretty soon. So it's definitely been an interesting campaign.
And again, we don't have a dog in this fight. We're not pulling up politics on this one.
Yeah, off air, you come talk to me. We can talk politics. I'll fill you in on all my positions.
Are you going to start talking about Gary Johnson?
What?
All right, cool. We got a great show coming up. The business tip is on the way next. You're listening to The Hook. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Saturday.
Well, way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, it gets hotter than a hoochie coochie.
The Hook Radio Show is online, always, thehookradio.com. We appreciate you hanging out with us on a Saturday. My name is Josh, along with the Marketing Maverick. That's Jason Arcemont. And this is being brought to you by ontoboxtraining.com, which Jason is one of his companies. One of the 15 companies he owns. It feels like you own a lot more companies.
Some days it feels like more than that.
Right?
Yeah, OntoBox is a company that we're extremely proud of. It's our corporate training group, powerful training for professional people. We do more than just training, though. We do a lot of consulting, go into companies and we look at their entire workflow process, how they're managing, how they're operating. We have a program called Compound Marginal Growth, CMG, that we take clients through to help them maximize the efficiency of their business, all leading to making business more fun, easier to do, spending less time on the stress, and getting down to getting things done. Check us out if you get a chance. If there's anything we can do, you can always shoot me an email, ask me some questions. Website is, what is it? OntoBox Training.
You see, you have too many URLs in your head.
OntoBoxTraining.com. That's it. Yeah.
Or you can go to thehookradio.com and you can reach it from there.
Yeah, we link it there too.
All right. The business tip for this week.
The business tip this week, really, it's something that I've been working on in our own organization, specifically Brightbox, and it revolves around data and understanding that data is power. Whether it's your marketing program or your business in general, the ability to measure and track the effectiveness of a program or department is really, something, like I said, is something that I've come to really rely on over the years to give me confidence and to be able to sleep better at night. I'm like a lot of people, I work in a fast-paced environment. I get things done. I see if they're effective. I kind of assume they are. I have some things in the back of my mind I would change next time, and then I go on to do the next project. And when something comes back up again, I try to implement it based on the things that I've learned. And, really, that's just a horrible way of doing it. We have improved results in departments and management and effective marketing tactics 10 times tenfold by just watching the data, understanding it, interpreting it, and modifying it for the next time that we launched. And I know this is something that we talk a lot about with your clients and really all of our clients, is setting key performance indicators, KPI.
But what is a key performance indicator? What does that mean, though?
Well, for me, it's looking at what do you ultimately want done. So, for instance, a lot of clients will tell us that they want their marketing to increase their revenue. Well, okay, so we need to set some KPI, some measures to know how we're going to track and report to you on a monthly basis that those measures and those efforts are being done properly. And we can't really be in charge of the close of the sale, maybe unless it's all e-commerce based. But for a lot of our clients, it involves some level of walking into a door. So we have to set things like foot traffic, phone conversions, phone calls from ads and promotional things that we've done, maybe web traffic, conversion of web traffic, a form on the website, all types of things. And I think that's where I'm seeing so many people still aren't collecting that data. I hear people all the time, oh, well, we tried this process in our company, or we tried this marketing tactic and it didn't work. So that it's not for us. And then I'll always immediately say, well, okay, well, what was it? What didn't work? And well, we just didn't get the results we wanted. Mm-hmm. So then we start asking, okay, well, how many did you send out? What was the open rate? How many people clicked through? What was the response? Did you follow up with a survey? Did you get any kind of feedback? And it's always inevitably, well, no, we didn't do any of that.
Everything we do is measurable.
Really, if you think about it, almost everything we do in our life is measurable to some extent. And the more that you start thinking about measurable ways to do things, the more that you can get out of your day-to-day, efforts. Are
you sending out an e-blast just to, I don't know, let people know you're still there, alive and kicking? No, you probably want them to see your e-blast, and there's a reason that you have it going out. Is it reaching the right people? Are they opening it? We talked about the open rate. That's what that means. How many people actually open that e-blast, that email? How many people clicked? Where did they click? Because all of that is measurable. We can look at the analytics. Whenever they clicked it went to this page. What date did you start on? I don't want to get into it too much.
Right.
Because that's why we get the big bucks, right?
Yeah, that's it. You got to call us. Yeah. You got to get the meeting for that one. No, I mean, really, look, what it comes down to is I would challenge you if you're listening, whatever the most difficult or frustrating part of your day is, or your week or your month, whatever seems to be the most challenging thing for you, I would challenge you, take a couple seconds, take a couple minutes, sit down and write some clear KPI for what it is that project or that task that you're doing. Maybe it's even something on a personal level. Maybe it's getting in shape. Maybe it's working out on a regular basis. If you really understand what it is you're trying to get out of it and can define that, then you can set clearer objectives, right? Because you may realize that you're wanting to work out. Well, are you wanting to work out more because you just like working out? Usually not. You want to feel a certain way. You want to have a different kind of waistline. You want to feel more energetic when spending time with your family. So there's different things that you can measure than just going to the gym.
And what you do, whenever I did Weight Watchers, it was like that. You're writing down everything you take in for the whole day. You're also putting how much you work out, what you did for that workout, the amount of time. And then you look at the end of the week, well, I did a lot of working out and I didn't eat as great as I did. And this is the result that I got from that.
Right.
Or 2 weeks later, whatever it might be, you can look at your results, but you want to have that track record there. You want to have everything you did right there on paper or digital. I mean, everything's digital now. So you're able to see it.
Yeah. And I've carried that process or that, that approach into our business, into every aspect. From our employees, do our employees understand what their KPI are? What are they being evaluated against? You don't have to have a huge, employee evaluation program and all these forms, but maybe just 3 or 4 simple things that align with your mission, your vision as a company, and then a couple things that are specific to their role. And then every project, every task that the company does should have some level of KPI. If you're spending time and money on it as an organization, you should have something that you're measuring the successfulness of that rather than just busy work. Because then you run around, everybody's totally busy, totally swamped, nothing's really working. Some of it is working, but nobody's really measuring or tracking any of it. I meet so many businesses like that, and that's the very first thing that we do when I start our consultation program is I come in, we strip everything down, and we say, okay, what are we trying to do here at the end of the day? And it's always different. Every company is not just about the bottom line. Some companies are trying to hit a certain margin, right? Some are trying to position the company so that the owner can start retiring. Some are trying to lifestyle the things. Some are trying to, there's just so many different things when looking at your business that can trickle down into the departments, into the employees, into the actual work that you're delivering. And so I just really encourage you guys to think about your life and think about the things that you're doing in forms of data, because it takes all the emotion and the stress and the turmoil from having to make some of these decisions.
And a lot of times people they have a marketing program that they roll out, and the marketing program isn't the problem. The problem is, as you said earlier, what's happening at your door? Like if it's a sales, if you're selling a product, well, what's happening on your side? Because maybe you're getting all the people in, so the marketing is a success. But what happens once they walk through the door? Yeah.
No, we've measured that several times. We would do a direct mail program. Client would tell us, oh, it's not working. And I'm like, well, man, we sent out, 5,000, 2,000, whatever, however many direct mailers. So I ended up eventually putting a call tracking number on that direct mailer. And you can go through Grasshopper. There's several different call tracking systems. They give you a phone number. It attaches or links to a website that you can hear every phone call that's made on that phone number. And sure enough, what we found is that the person answering the phone at the company wasn't qualified to be answering the phone, to take the lead, to set them up properly, to get them in touch with the salesperson in an appropriate amount of time. And so all of that traffic, all those efforts, all those dollars were falling flat right there from the receptionist.
There's some very cringeworthy moments whenever you listen back to audio.
Yeah. It's almost like I don't even want, because then I have to go share that with the client, say, okay, hey, listen to the way these calls are being handled, and it's always kind of like a red face moment from the client. And I'm like, sorry, but hey, now we know for sure what it is, because people are calling. If we had closed or converted 10% of those and then closed another 10% of that, all of a sudden it more than pays for itself, and marketing is proven. But so many of you guys running marketing departments aren't measuring the real effectiveness of the program. And I just, I challenge you to do that, and then take a look at how you can implement that into other aspects of your life. I think you'll be surprised at how many things you do on a day-to-day basis could have some level of KPI.
And have you had a client that has seen that data where the marketing campaign was working and they just needed to change something on their side, and they were a complete success after that, just that one little tweak?
Yeah, I mean, probably where I've seen it the most, though, is every time we do a campaign, or when clients' budgets allow for it, we do ABC testing. Mm-hmm. And what that means is, if we do an e-blast, I'm going to take an e-blast and I'm going to break it in your email list into 2 categories. One is going to get subject message A, and one's going to get subject message or subject line B. And just changing the subject line a little bit is going to start giving us some data on what is interesting to your audience. And that's probably been the biggest thing for us. We do that on web design. We do that on direct mails, e-blasts, everything. A/B testing, hands down. Do that to a small pool. If you have 10,000 people in your database, do a A/B test to 1,000 of them. Figure out what's working first, because sometimes you'll be surprised. It could be 300 times greater return, open rate, conversion rate on just a couple words, changing up a couple words in a sentence. So try it out.
I hate to cut you off.
No,
but
I know.
We have our guest that's coming in studio. So
Leisa Holland-Nelson with ContentActive.
On the way next, this is The Hook.
Every Friday night there's a steady cloud of dust that leads back to a field filled with pickups.
TheHookRadio.com, as they say always, that we have an online footprint. I've never said that before, I'll be honest with you.
That was very good, though. That sounded good.
I made it up right there. TheHookRadio.com is where you find us. That's where you get all the content from past shows, as well as if you want to reach out to us, say hi. Maybe you heard a guest and you're like, I need more information. Can you send it to me? Of course we will. You want to know about your business and how your marketing plan is going? We'll talk about that too. That's fine. But we have guests that we bring in studio every single week, and this week's same
is another great one.
Yeah.
We try to bring you the best content, the foremost experts in their field. And this week we've done it again. We have the co-founder of ContentActive, one of Houston's most respected website development firms, digital media firms, Leisa Holland-Nelson. Leisa, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jason. I'm really glad to be here.
Awesome. And now maybe you guys have grown so much. We've had a long-standing relationship, but I know we both look at each other every year and go, whoa, so what are you doing now? Fill us in a little bit about ContentActive. I want to make sure I didn't set the stage for you guys incorrectly there.
I think you did a great job.
All right.
We think we're Houston's leading web and mobile design and development company. We do websites, mobile apps, and custom application development. 50% of our clients are Houston's leading nonprofits. In fact, I'm proud to say when the list came out of the top 20, 17 are our clients, which is pretty fabulous.
That is good.
And the other half of our clients are really businesses and mid-market companies. Some of the mid-market companies are billion-dollar companies because they're the energy space or construction.
Right.
But that's sort of who the rest of the customers are.
And I've always kind of held you guys in. I said this earlier in the earlier segment that we've partnered with you guys in the past when we've got a website that kind of breaks the traditional limits of kind of typical. You guys do a lot of heavy lifting and programming, building web-enabled systems and applications. Is that still true today? Because that's how I've always thought of you guys.
Absolutely. And the last couple of years, we've done some real game-changing development. And from building a walk platform for a political party to the number one sports app last year was called Fan React. We developed it. It was ranked best app by Telerik, which is one of the development tools, and top 10 by Adobe Cordova, which is the big gun. And so it's really a fantastic app. It's been adapted by the National Lacrosse League to do a private label version. It's just going and going. It's been covered in press everywhere. Yahoo Sports Radio has adopted it. So that kind of thing. And we're just building an extraordinary iPad app to manage a car repair shop from top to bottom, from starting the business to booking the business to running the business to taking money, absolutely everything. And it is a pad application. I mean, and it's fantastic. So we're real excited about that.
I can't even imagine the spreadsheet that went along developing that.
It's huge, and it's taken a lot of effort. And on top of that, we build fantastic websites.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just great websites.
Yeah, I said earlier, obviously my company does web development, but, I hope you guys understand that for me to bring another web team in, there's a great deal of respect for ContentActive, and Brian and yourself over there just do a phenomenal job, and have really admired you guys over the years. So kudos to you. So maybe give our listeners a little insight. So how did you get started in doing this? Give us a little background on it. I always ask our guests to give a little bit of their background on how they got into this field.
Making me giggle.
Uh-oh.
I spent 25 years in the fashion business in New York City, and doing everything from being a retailer, a buyer at Neiman Marcus, one of the first people to do product development for Federated Department Stores, which is now Macy's. You're probably wearing one of my brands, Alfani. I mean, a lot of people wear another called Ink. I mean, I was involved in creating those in the beginning. I ran a couple of apparel companies that were very large and very successful. Went to a vertical retailer, which was absolutely scary and a nightmare, and ended my career in the fashion business as a partner in executive search with Heidrick & Struggles, doing fashion, retail, and consumer products.
Okay.
The whole gamut of it gave me a real insight into what I call concept to closet.
Okay.
Getting a product from an idea to the third dry cleaning.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, so that's what I do, and that's sort of what I've always done. Fast forward 2002, I was a single mom. I moved back to Houston, Texas. I was trying to figure out what to do with myself, but I was a pretty good marketer and a pretty good merchant and a pretty good brander and a really good organizational development person and real good with business process, And I'm having dinner with a friend one night, and he said, my company's a year old or 2 years old, and we started our business to do communications for nonprofits, print, mail, and internet services. And this was 2003.
Okay.
Philanthropy was in trouble everywhere, but especially in Houston.
Yeah. Okay.
You not only had September 11th, but Enron.
Right.
So the whole world of nonprofits, philanthropy was not great. They had to print and mail, but they didn't even know what a website was. So, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, we think that we've had this forever.
Right,
but we really didn't. And so he said, well, you come and talk to my partner and me and see if you have an idea or if you can figure out what we've been doing wrong trying to grow this business. So I came in to talk to them, and within an hour, they were showing me the product, and we came up with the idea of our original product, which was called rentthesite.com, websites in 48 hours that looked like designer sites and cost 1/10, and decided to build that business and did the whole strategy in one day because my partner Brian's wife was being induced the next day with his daughter who's going to be 13 in July.
Wow.
I know. I can't believe she's going to be 13. I feel like she was just born.
Wow.
And anyway, at the end of the day, Frank said, what do you want to run this division? And I said, run this division? I'm a fashionista. I don't know a thing about technology. I don't even know if I do on-off on my laptop.
Right.
He said, no one will ever be as passionate as you are about this business.
Man.
I went home, checked with a few friends, thought, what did they think of our idea? Everybody I called thought it was great, and I came back in the next morning, and I'm still here.
Wow. Wow. And I know I've heard that story before, but I think you articulated it extremely well. I didn't today, at least. I didn't take all of that in. That's interesting. So they originally just brought you in just to give
marketing. I was supposed to be there half a day.
You didn't know you were doing an interview.
I was so thrilled. Frank was going to pay me, this big amount of money for half a day.
Man.
As it turned out, he didn't pay me anything for 2 years.
Well, welcome to ownership, right?
I don't know what I was thinking. Brian and I still go, what were we thinking? The fast forward. That was July of 2003. In January of 2006, we bought our division. We were with Frank about 2 years. And we bought it. And moved out and rebranded ourselves as ContentActive. And that's where you guys
just really started exploding.
We really exploded in our first year. We doubled our business in our first. We did really well, but that was really when we understood the opportunities that we had and who our customers were from the beginning, and that we were really making a difference in this nonprofit world.
Right. Is there any one thing that you guys feel is kind of like your key differentiator, and has that been there since the beginning, or has that constantly changed for you guys?
I think there's more than one thing.
Okay.
I do think that there's more than one. First of all, I think our key differentiator is our product.
Okay.
We don't have a look. I mean, we really get in the heads of our client. We learn everything about their business. We work with their team to hear how each of them describes what they do.
Right.
We have a terrific designer, and we've always had great designers. The one we have right now, I think, is the best, one of the best I've ever worked with anywhere, fashion, technology, or whatever.
It's so fun, isn't it? I
Yeah,
love
it's
that.
so great.
Yeah.
So when we deliver the design, it looks like the client, and it has the functionality that the client wants. It's not our signature
Got
look.
it. Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that's really, really important. And I think the second thing, and I was thinking about this coming over here today. There's really three things in all, because they're sort of the three Ps, but they're the things I drive my company crazy about. So product, obviously,
Okay,
is
yeah.
first. Process is the second. We've spent the last few years intensely getting organized.
Right. Right.
And I think that the way we deliver, and the fact that we deliver, and the fact that we give you exactly what we're going to do the day we start,
right.
and
Yeah.
we meet that. I
Yeah,
think
that
that's
process
real
is
important.
so important. I know I've had several
Yeah.
conversations with Brian over the past year or so just about
It's all he
this
wants to talk
platform
about.
and that platform, and
he
how
wants
can
to
we,
show
yeah.
you his grids and his
Yeah,
charts,
well,
and this is how you know.
Yeah,
he's
we were
a-
talking earlier
Yeah.
about data and the power of data and how most people
Yeah.
just don't use it. And you guys are really capturing that and putting that data into powerful processes
Yes.
for your organization. So that's just, I love it. It's phenomenal.
Yes.
And there's a
The
third P. Okay.
is probably the most important, and that's our people.
Right.
People do business with people. They do business with people they like, they know. I mean, since I've been in the technology business, I've always said technology doesn't make technology work. People do,
Absolutely right.
and they work with us for us. So
Yeah.
when you're a ContentActive client, we'll do whatever we can to help you grow whatever you want to grow.
Right.
You know, donations,
See, and
sales
I think
leads.
that's, to me, that's a big difference for you guys. I mean, just like that one statement, you know, we'll do whatever we have to do to help you guys grow. But so many like web development or digital media firms, they're still more about building the application or building the deliverable rather than building a result-oriented machine, you know? And you guys are focused on getting those results, not just building a product.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge. I hear that all the time from clients that say, "Well, man, we talked to somebody else, but they were just talking about it like it was a tangible thing they were just going to give to us, you know." And you guys seem more vested in what we're going to do. So I love that spirit about you guys.
We're
Yeah.
crazy vested.
At times, probably over. Like most of us with good companies, we get a little too involved, maybe. But
Well, especially us, because so many of our clients are nonprofits. So we're out
yeah,
there
it's hard not to be, right?
engaged in raising money or getting people to their events or being part of their events or whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So it's an active company. We're an active company with active lifestyles.
Well, good thing the active is in the name.
You know, I just said that. I didn't realize I said that.
Well, awesome. We're talking with Leisa Holland-Nelson with ContentActive. What's the best way that someone can get in touch with you guys? Is it ContentActive.com?
It's ContentActive.com. I'm LH Nelson at ContentActive.com. Happy to hear from anyone.
Yeah, she's a great person to reach out, especially once you get to know her. I know it's coming through the microphone, but she's a fabulous person. You guys are going to love her if you have any questions. We've got some more things we're going to talk with her about coming up. She does some amazing things on the personal marketing, the networking, how involved she is in her community and her associations. We'll give you guys an insight on that when we come back.
That's on the way. You're listening to The Hook.
Well, I went down to the Grundy County auction where I saw something I just...
Got a great guest as usual. You are listening to The Hook. That is the marketing maverick, Jason Arsmont, who's going to set up our guest in studio today.
Yeah, we're having a great conversation here with co-founder of ContentActive. We're talking with Leisa Holland-Nelson. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, this has been good. I know I've known you for a long time, but I'm learning a lot today. I love these interviews. This is good stuff.
Thank you for complimenting me that I'm delivering it better.
You're doing a wonderful job. So it was funny. So we're talking about the name of the show, The Hook, off air. And you said, well, that's, ironic. We kind of have a hook.
It's new.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have a hook, and the hook comes from me, and we were laughing about it because I'm hardly a millennial. I am a baby boomer. I'm willing to say that much. That's about as far as I'm going to go.
It's hard to tell. She's an extremely striking, beautiful woman. You could tell she's from the fashion. She's always on point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I have a millennial daughter. But it turns out my attention span is shorter than hers.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no patience. And I feel like I'm similar to most C-level executives of my
I do
era.
too. We were saying that. I'm like,
We have
they
no
give-
time.
Yeah, they give
We're
millennials
just-
such a bad rap, but
I know,
I'm
but it's
just
us.
as guilty.
So my clients, most of them are C-level executives. We
Right.
generally come in that way
Yep.
into the company. So I realized about a year ago that I wasn't scrolling anywhere on Google. If
Yeah.
it wasn't in the window when Google came up,
It
I
didn't
wasn't
exist.
finding it.
Yeah.
I used to click 3 times on a website. Suddenly I wasn't doing that. I was maybe clicking 2. And I decided that for us to differentiate ourselves, we needed to be the one-click people. So we
Man.
are the one-click people. When a ContentActive product comes up on your phone or your iPad or your desktop or your laptop, what you need to do is right there in your face.
So you're never more than one click away. And that's not
No.
easy, folks. I know maybe kind of face value to go, okay, yeah, one click away. But really, when you think about all the steps that are usually involved, logically involved, to mitigate that or reduce that down into one click takes some exceptional design and kind of building out that org chart and that process in your head. So that's impressive. Now I'm going to be looking at sites a little bit differently for one click. I've always been like the 2 to 3 guy. So
Especially
man, I might be a little
ours. You're going to
behind.
look at ours a lot. But
Yeah,
I think this probably started with the food bank.
Okay.
3 years ago, when we redid their website, they wanted everything in the screen. We called it above the fold at the
Right,
time, but
okay.
they wanted everything in the screen. And so there are all these different squares, and if you mouse over any one of them, whatever you're checking on, whether it's picking up food or donating or volunteering or whatever, everything you need to know about doing that is right there.
Wow. Okay.
You can click onto a page that'll tell you everything, but you don't have to.
And that sounds really, I don't want to say that sounds simple. So I can get that from a desktop when you talk about above the fold. So you guys are transferring that
It's
one click theme
responsive.
into a responsive
Yes.
mobile site
Yes.
as well.
Yes, we don't
Oh,
do
man.
anything. We don't build anything that isn't responsive today.
Right.
Was another thing we were talking
Yeah.
about earlier.
Kind of
is
have
that
to, or at least we thought you had to.
I
We're
think-
starting to see it come back around, right?
What?
Well, we were talking about how Google said, kind of laid down the mandate.
Well, yeah, a year ago, Google
Maybe it
said
took
if
them a
it's
while.
not responsive, then we're not going to rank you from the mobile phones.
Right, okay.
But they did.
Yeah.
But maybe they're stopping. Here's the deal: whether Google ranks you or not, if somebody can't read your website when they look at it on
Yeah.
their phone, which is how 80% or 90% of everybody is looking things up right now,
Yeah.
you're dead in the water anyway. So it
Right.
doesn't really matter what Google says.
Yeah. So if your
customers-
website's not
Yeah.
responsive, you got to give somebody a call. Call Leisa.
And how many clients tell us that that's one of their major questions whenever they talk to us about designing websites? Is it going to be responsive? Shouldn't that be something that's
like,
taken for granted?
yeah.
If you have a website, it has to be responsive.
In my opinion, yes.
No
today
matter
that
what.
should be taken. I don't even think about it being anything else.
Well, I'm not dropping names, but I know other development firms in Houston, in town, that still don't develop with responsive.
I can't understand.
I don't know how
why.
they're continuing to sell websites, but hey,
It's it's an interesting
Scary.
thing because for a long time before we really were as actively in the app business as we are right now in the mobile app business, our web-based mobile sites were nobody really needed an app.
right. Well, yeah, that's true.
they didn't
Yeah.
because the mobile site did as much as you needed. I mean, apps have been created for distinctive things where you need to either information storage or sharing, or you've got an exclusive group, or
Okay.
there's a game or something's
Yeah.
going, you want to manage a whole thing and you don't want anybody else in it.
Okay. Is that how you separate it? Because I know I get that question a lot too. Is like, well, I need an app. And then I'm always like, well, do you really need an app or you just want a button that you can click on? Right?
Which is different because you can have a
Right.
button from anything we do.
Right.
You
That
can
go
make,
to an interactive website.
Yeah.
Not
I
necessarily
mean,
an
our
app.
websites, when they come up on your phone, offer you a button.
Right. Man,
So
see?
you can.
So where do you distinguish the big difference? Is it in the amount of data that you're processing, or
I think that's it. I
Okay.
do think it is the amount of data, and I think it's also functionality.
okay?
Like we have an app. We have this wonderful urgent care client, Next Level.
Okay.
And the first thing we did was build their website. They wanted you to know that you never have to wait at Next Level. So what does their website look like? An empty waiting room.
Nice,
with
yeah.
a map. So
Yeah.
you can find
We're
out
ready.
where they
Come
are.
on,
What else
yeah.
do you need?
Yeah.
You don't have to go anywhere else. So if you need an urgent care and you pull up the Next Level app, which is available in any app store, because we're really good at provisioning.
Right.
So when you pull up the Next Level app, what it gives you is a screen that asks you how far away are you. You know, first of all, it geolocates where you are, and it asks you, can you be here in 15 minutes or 30 minutes?
Wow.
And you choose and you put your information in, and it texts you when the room is going to be ready.
Wow.
In whatever amount of time. And it's got a pharmacy locator in it and your health records and all this kind of, I mean, it is so great that we've gotten other urgent cares finding it in the App Store and coming to us to build another one. So something like that that's functioning for one particular organization.
I love it. Technology is so awesome, man.
Do you think it's like billboard space, though? The reason that they want an app isn't for, because, I mean, we know responsiveness. Everything's responsive off of your phone. Do you think that they want it just because it's that billboard space on someone's phone?
I think definitely, yeah.
That's
a lot
their
of times.
ad space. You know, the amount of tiles you have right there. And if your tiles is one of them, then they're going to, you are forming some kind of bond with that person because they see it every day over and over and over.
Yeah.
If you see it.
But
generally what happens, like I've got, I don't know how many apps, and I maybe see 3 of them.
Right. Well, and it's also kind of like another one of those KPIs. We were talking about data and, you know, key performance indicators. If an X number of people are downloading the app, you know, you're getting some data on how many people at least are interested, whether they come back and how much they interact. You can measure all that stuff. So, I mean, it gives you way more data to
And I would also say that us 3, we're not typical users. I mean, because we can say that we would never see it, even if it's on our phone, but we're not typical because we work in that space all the time.
Yeah, I'm always looking for those things, man. You know, I'm interested. So I know you, not just from ContentActive, but I know how active you are, what seems like how active you are in the community. I mean, it seems like you're at every event, you're everywhere. Every time there's an event comes up, I'm like, oh, there's Leisa. How do you keep up with that? Is that a strategy that you have implemented? I mean, what gets you so involved?
Well, our marketing strategy is doing well by doing good. I mean, we market ContentActive by being engaged in the community. It's been the best thing for us to do because we had one person, me.
Right.
You know, I loved the opportunity to be engaged in the community, and so it just worked for us.
And how did you target some of those? Was it pretty easy off the bat? It was just another client's community they were involved in, or how did you guys target those?
Pretty much. Well, in the beginning, I targeted women.
Okay.
My first target.
We have a lot in common.
From 2003, women and women-owned businesses and leadership groups. I mean, I'm passionate about women and passionate about leadership.
Because of the demographic being so fresh from the fashion side.
From the fashion side, came here from New York. New York was way ahead of Texas as far as women and this whole glass ceiling issue, which I've never faced in my life. So it's real interesting to talk about. I was in the fashion business. It was all about women. There was not a glass ceiling.
I guess so,
You know, I came to technology. Nobody knew anything, so there was no glass ceiling there either. So, you know, as a sort of a first mover in the space. So it's, I just was fascinated with that. And I started out with women's groups and the city of Houston.
Okay.
I was so grateful to be back here. I got very involved in the Greater Houston Partnership. We really built our business there.
Wow.
I mean, we had the cheapest membership you could have, and I was the volunteer of the century for 5 years. I was everywhere.
Wow.
I mean, I couldn't buy stuff, but I could, you know, we were bootstrapping our company.
Yeah.
But I could show up, and I just showed up and showed up and showed up. That is my absolute, the one thing that I will never talk to you again if you don't show up.
Right.
It's the one thing I just like. It makes me crazy. So I really went from the partnership to the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
Which is probably the premier women's group in Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, I just sort of stayed in my zone, and through it, as we worked in the community, we started getting community clients. Mm-hmm. Some we had.
Sure. Yeah.
And we just grew them. And some were women I met. I mean, if I go through my big client base, I've been involved with them somewhere.
Wow.
As a woman or as supporting them in another thing.
Yeah. You know, and that's interesting. We're talking with Leisa Holland-Nelson from ContentActive. You know, I hear all the times like, oh, well, the networking things, they don't work. And usually my reply is, well, you're probably the one not working, right? Because you can sign up, but you got to go work them.
It depends.
You got to join the groups and get involved,
You
right?
must. But here's what I discovered.
Okay.
when I started our company, Brian and I started the business, I was the networking partner, and I was going to 8 or 9 or 10 events a day. Believe it or
Wow.
not, you could do that back then. I was very involved in the technology business because that's what we were in, and it took me about a year to realize that everybody I was meeting, I was building my brand awareness. But they were all competing with me, or they had had a brother's, cousin's, niece's, nephew who could do it better than I could, or cheaper than I could, never faster. So I kind of like started looking around, and that's when I decided to look at what was I interested in.
Okay.
So I went out and I got engaged volunteering. I mean, in the nonprofit world, and what happened was, eventually, I would volunteer. I would move up in the organization. I'd get on the board. I'd get them as a client, and my for-profit clients were the other board directors.
Yeah.
I have 3 going on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still
right.
So for me, supporting the community and going to like the silly kickoff party for my client, who knows? I mean, Boys and Girls Harbor. Wasn't silly. It was a fabulous kickoff party. I know I got another client at that event.
Right.
And so that's just, I just sort of stay in my zone.
Maybe don't, so I guess kind of wrap that part up. Don't just look at your own industry associations,
out of your
but
industry.
things that you're interested in, right? Because you have other humans and other types of work and other professionals that are going to be involved in those things, then you share a common thread at that point, not just a common type of business.
And they'll refer to you if they can't do business with you. That's the other thing, is not being afraid to say, what you do exactly clearly, so somebody can recommend you.
Yeah.
We're our own worst enemy as far as getting business or getting referrals, because we're so busy finding out about somebody else that we forget to say, and by the way, I need this.
Yeah. Yeah, here's how you could help me too, right? I know I do so much coaching, and so many times I'll start talking with somebody, come to find out half their own family doesn't even know that they're in business for them. I'm like, come on, man, we got to scream this from the mountaintop.
Listen, for years, people thought I was in the PR business.
Well, you know what? I could see that because you come across that
about
way
5 years ago, I realized I was gonna introduce myself and say websites, mobile app, like it just.
Or just start a PR firm.
I am not in the PR business,
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. I noticed your pin. Do you want to, before we wrap up, do you want to throw a little out? I know you're super proud of your family and you got some good stuff going there. I am super proud of my family. I have a fabulous daughter, Laura Max Rose, who's married to Ben Rose, who's running for State Rep District 134. Man, look out. In November. Please vote for him. He's just an extraordinary young man, 31 years old, has the heart of a lion. I mean, and he just really is going to make a difference. And the people working with him are just committed to doing that. Yep. And I could not be prouder. Well, I've been following him online, and I know your daughter. I don't know Ben personally, but he looks like a genuine guy, so I wanted to make sure that we got his mention in there. Absolutely. Well, this has been a treat. Got to talk with you on a different level than usual, and it's been a lot of fun, and obviously there's just a wealth of stuff that we could keep talking about. So we're probably going to have you back at some time if you don't mind joining us again. I might have to bring Brian with me. Well, we'll see. I didn't tell him where I was going. If you have to. Well, he was on a 2-week vacation, wasn't he? He got home, yeah. I left him in the office. Good deal. But thanks for joining us, Lisa. You are listening to The Hook. Always find us online, thehookradio.com. We'll see you again next week.